14th of March 2022 at 9:30 p.m, a Russian news reporter and propagandist stormed the set of a Russian news broadcast carrying a sign protesting the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine. Russian writing lined her posters translating to "Stop the war and they're lying to you." This was not just a protest addressing the Russian people, but a declaration to the entire world. Maria Ovsyannikova, the former Russian news reporter turned viral protester, was promptly arrested and detained for 14 hours. She was ultimately punished by being placed under house arrest and fined 30,000 rubles. At first glance, this may seem like a lighter sentence, but as reported by Politico, the decisions were made shortly after French President Emmanuel Macron informed reporters of France's willingness to allow asylum for Marina. Marina Ovsyannikova claimed that she overheard parts of the conversation and that she was certain that had it not been for the president's comments, she would have received criminal charges.
Marina would be accused again with spreading fake news after Russian legislatures passed laws cracking down on fake news. Importantly, the law was added to already existing legislation, targeting what Russian authorities view as false information, and could lead to 15 years prison sentences. This hard crackdown not only silenced journalists in the country, but also inspires the regular population to resent the press and act on behalf of the Russian government. The story of Nobel-winning Dmitry Muratov is such a story of violence against a journalist. In April 2022, Dmitry Muratov was assaulted on a train with red paint. It is not entirely clear whether the culprits were state operatives or regular citizens. Novaya Gazeta, the newspaper that Dmitry Muratov was editing for, had been forced to remove a lot of their reporting of the Russian invasion of Ukraine and were threatened with the same 15-year sentence for fake news. These stories are a microcosm of a larger issue of the poor treatment of journalists in Russia and on a global scale. Many publications like Novaya Gazeta were forced into stopping operations and fined for negatively portraying the Russian army.
According to Reporters Without Borders, almost 2/3 of Russians get their news from watching it on the television. Private TV channels are only allowed to broadcast entertainment and not news broadcast, which limits the news to being controlled directly by the state that aims to censor journalists. All these transgressions against journalists were to be scrutinized at the Human Rights Committee by UN experts. Russia, like all the other countries present, were required to submit a report detailing how they had worked towards honoring the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights. This treaty bound countries to respect several civil rights, including freedom of speech and freedom of press.
Russia's refusal to honor an agreement that puts it under scrutiny, its censorship of publication within its own borders, and its response to negative global press, such as the case of Marina Ovsyannikova, paints a clear picture of fear of bad publicity, fear of truth and accountability spreading throughout Russia.